Alright guys, since I thought, alright, so I was originally under the impression that I would have a lot of audio issues due to the lack of a piece of my mic. Me being kind of an idiot and also not, among other things, okay, not really, not being an idiot, but me just kind of being unaware of how really insignificant the piece was, so I now know that I could have done without it, but in hindsight, it was just better that I didn't try to make videos because I was just so busy focusing on finals and shtick. Either way, I did say I was going to get up some deck profiles. This is the Lightraysworn deck that I've been testing on DN. My final analysis is that the deck is good, and I can see people wanting to take something like this to a competitive event. However, my serious problems with the deck come from its lack of back row. And just lack of ways to stop your opponent's plays. I really wanted to believe that this deck's ability to explode very quickly would make that not so problematic, when in reality it's just something that can be really difficult to overcome, especially in a long tournament. This isn't the type of deck I would bring just because of how likely it is I'll face a deck that's either going to lock me down or just finish me with massive back rows and stuff. But let's get to this deck, shall we? So we have 3 Judgment Dragons, 2 Lightray Gearfrieds, 1 Gorz, 2 Lumina, 2 Jane, 2 Raikou, 2 Lila, 2 Aaron, 1 Wolf, 1 Arcus, 1 Garroth, 1 Honest, triple Effect Veiler, double Card Trooper, and Plague Spreader Zombie. For the spells, we have Dark Hole, Monster Reborn, Charge of Light Brigade, Rhoda, Heavy Storm, triple Solar Recharge, double Forbidden Lance, 1 Monster Reincarnation, 1 Warrior Returning Alive. And for traps, just 2 Beckoning Lights. Just to briefly go over this. Okay, now, the deck is pretty straightforward. Mill your lights, get out your boss monsters, hopefully OTK. It's actually not as difficult as people might think. If you set up your grave pretty quickly, which I've actually done numerous times where I've been able to get out these guys on turn 2, you can basically OTK with either 2 Gearfrieds and a JD, or 2 JD and a Gearfried. Or you can just go JD, blow up the field, Gearfried, and then Lumina, get a Lightsworn monster, and you can win potentially. There are a lot of ways to just kind of kill your opponent. Really, what you're gonna want to do more often than not, though, is just kind of hit your opponent down, at least with a 1 attack or something, 1 direct attack, to the point where you can at least know that you can go, JD Gearfried plus any monster, and that'll be game. So that's really helpful. Monster lineup is pretty standard. I guess it's just people are wondering, maybe with all the Lightsworns. I do like all of these Lightsworns for different reasons. Lumina's obvious because it's just like a toolbox Lightsworn. Jane I like because it becomes a 2100 beater, which can be very helpful. Raikou and Lila because you need the back row destruction, especially early game. That can be very game breaking. So I figured it would be good to have 2 copies of each. Raikou, the only downside is you do side it out in the Insector matchup. Otherwise, though, he can be very good, and he makes it so I don't even need to side in Snowman Eaters. 2 Aaron, because I hate Zen mains with a passion, as well as it allows me to lock down the opponent. 1 Wolf, because I always seem to draw multiples of these when, I seem to draw this in situations where I can't do anything with him, especially when I run 2 of him. Arcus, because in many situations, including the Insector matchup, he can be really good because your opponent can't target your own Lightsworns. And Garroth, because getting that extra draw power can be very helpful in numerous situations. Honest is straightforward. Triple Veiler, because you have no real outs to your opponent's plays aside. This is the best way of doing it, since I'd rather run this over a trap, or certain traps anyway. And then just Card Trooper, straightforward, a card's amazing, and Plague Spreader Zombie, because you need to mill some. Having access to the synchros can be very beneficial. Spells are also pretty straightforward. Recharge, in my opinion, is one of the best cards in this deck because it just helps you start off the engine very nicely. I know people are going to be like, well, isn't Charge of Light Brigade kind of better? It is, but at the same time, with Recharge you're going to be dumping monsters into the grave, so that's what is the real benefit to it. Lance is kind of my substitute for the MSTs because put it this way, without priority, you're not going to be thinking about, you're not going to want a card that lets you destroy like one of your opponent's many back row. You want to have one card that just protects them, that just protects it from everything. Lance is just powerful as hell when you in this deck, because just of how it protects everything. JD, they try to bottomless Lance, then blow up the field. It's stupid, especially also when you take into account this allows you to get around skill drain as well. Broken. The recursion cards are also pretty straightforward, but you could theoretically run other stuff. I mean, I just like the beckonings because early game they're not very useful, but late game they're absolutely absurd. I'm not going to go over the extra deck because it's pretty standard. I will, however, go over the side deck briefly, as at least this is what I have now. Double Cyber Dragon as just, if I'm facing a deck like Inzectors or a Rogue deck, and I just want to have that instant beater on board, I'm going to side in the Dragons. Gelenduo, kind of iffy on what matchups I would side this in for, but I guess probably Rabbit, because that's one of my more annoying matchups. It's very good for that reason. Lightray Daedalus, I thought about it, and on one hand, this card really is only useful in matchups where they're running a field spell. On the other hand, he's in really good extra beater, so if I'm really concerned about wanting to OTK my opponent really quickly, this is the right card to play. 2 Max Seas, because I realize how much I hate the wind-up matchup. If you don't draw Veiler, you're kind of screwed. Double MSTs, because, you side them. With people playing Macrocosmos and D-Fissure, the fact that it's seeing some play, that's definitely a problem. Smashing Grounds, just kind of a card you want to have in there. Good utility. Shadow Mirrors, just because Inzectors, Dark World, you want to have an out to them. And then the Triple Decrees, because trap-heavy decks obviously murder this deck, especially Macrocosmos. So yeah, so that's the deck. Let me guys know what you think of it. Again, I don't expect to really take this to a competitive event, but it is a cool, fun deck for now. This is a deck that has a lot of potential to be competitive. I just don't think this is the type of build I would see people like topping with. I think it's pretty close, because I think this kind of goes into what is what is kind of most effective. I'll admit, it does seem weird because as you can see, I'm not maining Necrogarnus or Trigodias, but I really just think the deck functions better without those cards. This is just more straight to the point of getting your light boss monsters out. Straightforward, simple as that. So again, tell me what you guys think. Any suggestions, or if you want to take up this deck for yourself, let me know. And yep, another deck profile should be up shortly. Peace out, guys.